I am Shelly Redmond Barnes, and I received my Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology from North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. After receiving my bachelor's degree in psychology, I went on to get my master's degree. I got a master's of science degree in rehabilitation psychology and counseling from UNC Chapel Hill. I went to work thereafter for a couple of years as a vocational consultant, and then I went back to school and I got my PhD in counseling and counselor education from UNC Greensboro. I like for us to, I think people should do well or follow what they do well in. And so I was doing well in psychology. Many folks know I wanted to be a physical therapist. Physical therapy didn't work for me. So I was doing really well in my psychology classes. I said, let's just stick with that. And that's how I ended up being a psych major. I started taking psych in high school and I just continued on. I would say that my internship in my master's degree program was probably the most beneficial because that was when I decided that I definitely wanted to work in a university setting, and that was where I first had the opportunity to do some teaching with college students. I used to teach the alcohol education courses at NC State, and from that opportunity I was able to then get an adjunct position at North Carolina A&T and teach those psychology courses there before I came to WSSU. So for me, that internship opportunity was very helpful, and then obviously getting the PhD and teaching more, doing more research, that is obviously required to be a professor. If you think about the undergraduate degree, you have to have some critical thinking, and additionally, we had to do a lot of research and data analysis. When I was an undergraduate, I did do independent study and I conducted my own studies. And all of those types of courses and activities were helpful in terms of what I do now, because now I'm teaching students how to conduct research. I'm trying to teach students how to make themselves a complete applicant for the graduate school process. So having been through it, I feel like I'm better to help people go through it on their own. Well, as a professor, we have three major areas. We have to obviously focus on our teaching, we have to do research, and then we have to do service to the community and service for the university. And so those are our major responsibilities. Obviously, I teach a lot, and so that is the largest component. I think just using your skills from your psychology undergraduate degree, you have to learn how to get along with others. You have to learn how to do teamwork. You have to be able to communicate well. You have to be able to not just oral communication, but you need to be able to have good written communication skills. And so all of those things that I learned very early on at A&T are helping me now. And so those are my major responsibilities. I think the other component that students don't do as much of, but that I did, even though it's outside my comfort zone, was networking and getting to know others around the university, making sure that I communicated with my faculty so that when it was time for me to apply to graduate school or when it was time for me to look for a job, I was able to go back and talk to those faculty and get some assistance and advice. And that was one of the reasons why I ended up teaching there. Go to class, do your work, and don't settle for C's. If you can do A work, do A work, okay? That's prior to graduation, obviously. As you approach graduation, you need to decide whether or not you want to go to graduate school or you want to go to work. Not everybody needs to go to graduate school. It's best if you figure out what your job interests are, because there's some careers that you can do without going to graduate school. And then thereafter, continuing education. Always hone in on your skills, try to advance your skills, whether it be going to conferences, whether it be taking more classes, even having a PhD. Sometimes I still think about going back and getting another degree just because I like school. So always try to better yourself and be okay with doing what you want to do. Follow what your heart wants to do, and don't do what your parents may tell you to do or what other professors may, pressure you to do. Be you. Of course, and I think the main reason is because they'll be able to learn about themselves and others by taking our courses. You can't learn about how the mind works when you take English or when you take math. So you come over to psychology, you learn about development, you learn about, especially in like lifespan development, you know what's going on now, but then you get to figure out what's going to happen in the future. You get to reflect back on the past. Those types of courses can really help you be a well-rounded person. So yes, if you're not a psychology major, you should still take psychology courses.